Yeah, do it. Well, we have to see if our mics work. Okay, the mics work.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I'm hidden.
Let's see.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of PinTech Live, hopefully. Oh, wait,
I mean,
on.
we'll try with what we have.
We got our jams going. I'll remember to turn that off. Hello, Edible Bard and Show Schlock and Mr. Baxter, who's feeling sick but still working on a
I
game.
can't see myself, so whatever. I'll just stand here. If you can't, I don't know if you can even turn the TV.
And Kyle's going to show off some text.
I'm going to show off a
Fixtures.
test fixture. One test
Look at
fixture
this
today.
Sega.
There are multiple test fixtures, but we'll look at this thing for a minute. Oh, I can see myself right there. That's great. I can see myself at an angle like that, but then most people can't see above my forehead, so
What?
I think we need to move this guy back. Oh, yeah, you can
Look
move.
at this.
Hello, everybody.
Oh my gosh, what is
What happened?
nothing?
We're slightly
Hi.
breaking the fourth wall today, so I
Yeah.
can do something semi-useful. And also maybe interesting, because some people have maybe never seen something like this before. We're going to do this episode a little out of order, where we're not going to talk about who we are and what we're doing and what we did and why I wasn't here last week, 'cause that's not important. But what is important is this test fixture, which is pretty bitchin'. But we will get to some of these things later, because we got to hear about Emoto's Arcade, because that's actually the only interesting thing we're going to do today. And she's like, no!
What?
It is! Dude, your arcade's the coolest part of this whole show now. I want to live vicariously
No.
through you, because you're living my dream. So,
Oh,
we're going to do it. All right,
we can trade.
we have a good old
Hello, everyone.
Sega Stern White Star test fixture. It's pretty cool. Test fixtures. People ask about them all the time, or people ask me about them a lot. Like, do I need one, or should I get a test fixture? Oh, crap. Here, I was standing in front of the camera. Here, take a look at it. We can look at it a little closer. This is a gigantic waste of space for 99% of applications, but they're really
Walk
really
it over
interesting.
even more. Like, center it up in the frame.
Yeah. They're really interesting otherwise, though. This is the reason I say this is a waste of space is because your pinball machine, any of your pinball games that run this system will do the exact same thing as this test fixture will. Why do test fixtures exist? Well, if I was Bench Tech Kyle and I was working at C.A. Robinson in San Francisco and my customer needed to send me a board, well, I can repair and test that board without using a game because I don't have a game as I am C.A. Robinson, right? We sell new games, but I don't have a bunch of games to fiddle around with. Well, as you do, and that's fine. But it's an interesting piece of equipment. These were made by almost every manufacturer made a different test bench for whatever system they were currently running. So you'll have there's a Gottlieb System 1 test bench over there. There's behind this is a WPC test bench. There's a WPC 95 one somewhere. Back in this other room in this building, we have Bally ones. Bally made a separate test bench for each board, which is kind of insane. But what it allows you to do is run a pinball environment without the actual pinball game. So if I was C.A. Robinson, I might have my Stern one here and my Williams one next to it, and then a Gottlieb one next to it, right? So you don't need all the space a pinball game takes up, but you can run the games on a bench. So this thing is essentially a pinball game without a playfield. There's a transformer in here. There's all the wiring to run through. Someone is calling me. It's my wife. Do I answer this? She knows. Hold on, Emoto, sorry, turn off the microphone really quick. Or I'll turn it off.
All right. So, how's everyone doing today? Thanks for joining us on the show while Kyle takes an important call. Um, yeah. I guess announcements next week. We are headed to Tacoma to the Northwest Pinball Show. We are going to be hanging out all weekend there with Jack Danger and Tanya Kleiss, whose most recent game is Foo Fighters Pinball. So if y'all are in that area, come hang out. It's going to be great. I think they're doing a few seminars. Geek Gamer TV's doing a cool like pinball skills seminar competition type thing that we are sponsoring with some fun prizes and fun with pinball. Mark Gibson's going to be there with his awesome display of pinball mechanics stuff, and I'm hopefully going to have time to hang out with him because he's amazing and a genius, and maybe I can get an interview with him as well too. It's hot. Are you ready for your mic to be back on, Kyle?
Back on. Okay,
all right, cool. Kyle's back.
Yep. No, I was non-emergency.
And hello, Mr. J. Crane. Thanks for joining us.
So, a test bench. This exists for people to be able to service boards away from a pinball game. So, you might see a lot of these folks online that do a lot of pinball repair, board repair, and you might wonder how they have all these games. Well, they don't. A lot of people will make their own test benches. So, Chris Hibbler, he does a lot. He's very active on Pinside and Facebook and does fantastic board repair. I very much recommend everyone who needs to send a board away to send it to him if they need a board repaired. He's amazing. But he has a bunch of custom stuff. Back in my day when I fixed pinball games, we made our own test benches as well, in the sense that we had harnesses we'd be able to power up computers to at least see if they're running before we would then go and try to put them in a game. Except for a Williams test bench. We made Chris, and he had a Black Knight head that he wired up to be able to run like an entire computer driver board set for System 7 testing, which was really fun. Nice. Oh, that's where my PinScore prototypes went. Nice. I'm glad someone moved them and brought them over here. I was looking for those last week, and I was like, holy crap, where'd they go? Thank you. Anywho, so I didn't check anything. Someone said that there might be something wrong with this, and I didn't verify, but let's see if anything is going on. We can take a look really quick, though. The White Star board set is really simple.
I know. Kyle's like the youngest one here, too.
What? What'd I do?
We're just laughing at you saying back in your day. You're an old man.
Well, back in my day when I got to do pinball repair, right? When
I'll
I was doing
my levels
actual fixing and not. But like I said, there's a transformer in here, and the transformer supplies us with AC power. You've got two AC inputs into this driver board. So this is our driver board, AC power here and here. This makes voltages for us. Voltages are transmitted to the computer. This is the computer, does all the thinking and the sound processing, etc. White Star has a display computer, so we have another computer here that processes everything for the dot matrix display. You will have a display power supply. So this small board here is used to power the DMD. This board was used all the way through even some of the SAM games before they went to LED dot matrices. And then this game also has a flipper board here, a 2-flipper control board as well. I don't remember how they work in White Star, but I think there were a couple games that may have used that. I don't know why, because most games in White Star, if I remember, the flippers were controlled by the MOSFETs on the actual driver. But anyways, then you might ask, it's like, well, how do you tell what's outputting, or where these outputs may be? Well, this is probably the most interesting part of this entire test fixture is this bit here. You've got membrane switches here underneath all of these. So this is your switch matrix, which you can mess with. And then up here you have a representation of your lamp matrix. And then you have LEDs that represent solenoid drives as well. So I could hit the flipper buttons here and I would get one of these lit up for a flipper, right? All of your solenoids here. So if we went into the test menu and we're bopping around and we said, shoot the out hole, well, maybe this guy would light up. And then you have supply voltages here. So this will just give you a quick overview if you're 5, 12, negative 12, 18, 20, if all of those voltages are present. And these will indicate if your fuses are okay on this board. Now, this board also has, LEDs to represent a lot of those voltages as well, but it gives you one place to look, I suppose. It's kind of neat because if you look underneath, you can see a very custom board. You've got your membrane switches down on the bottom and all of your LEDs and stuff on the upper board. It's kind of cool. So do we understand what a test bench is for? Does this make sense? Class? Emoto disappeared. Okay, cool. Well, now it's just us. So let's see. The light went over there. I wonder if this is long enough to reach that power strip on the floor now.
This one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this is wrapped on a game. Yeah, I think we can reach. Okay. Let's plug this sucker in. I think what I'll do is I'll go grab my voltmeter as well, just so I can take a look, see. I guess I probably don't need the voltmeter because it's got all those lights on there saying what's going on. I'm going to read the chat here really quick.
What is 12 volt used for?
Negative 12? Mr. Dre Crane, what's up, man? Thank you again for those fun gifts. What is negative 12 used for? Negative 12 is used in the sound section for audio stuff, I think, on these games. This is an interesting board. Most White Star boards don't have the third amplifier. They'll have like their left and right channel, and then I think that for some of the games they did a center channel, like a unique amplifier. Oh, hey, look at that. This camera's not working. What happened?
This one?
Yeah. Let me try doing it software. Let me try rebooting it in it's this guy here. Sorry, one sec, y'all. Is it this camera that's on? Razer? Yep, okay. What camera is that? Oh, that's the Sony cam. Okay, wait, so.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
No, it's fine. We had a camera die.
What? What's going on over there?
Okay, it's back now.
We good?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks, sorry. I'll show you what I did. Remind me to show you what I did when we were done. Am I working? Yeah. So yeah, we got our 3 amplifiers here. So yeah, most of the games would have their left and right channel, and the center wouldn't be stuffed. But this board is early enough that it has the center. It's also a Sega board. Sega came out with the White Star system in the 96 or so. I think Twister was the first game that used White Star. And but it was used well through into the Stern era as well. Games like Lord of the Rings and some other games very soon after still use this system. One big differentiator, though, I know we're supposed to be turning this thing on, but there's also 2 very different versions of White Star that are not compatible with each other. The early version has this BSMT 2000 chip right here, which is the audio processor. It is super unobtainium. You can't get that anymore. And if it goes bad, you need to find another one. BSMT is a Brian Schmidt's mousetrap. Brian Schmidt was like an audio engineer at Stern. At Data East. And one thing that really set Data East above was they had some really nice stereo sound that Williams didn't have, and their sound was arguably better for some time. But this chip was used in a lot of those games. And then while they were still using this board set, this chip went unavailable. So there is a second version of the White Star architecture, and there's a lot of subboards in between these. It's not just one version and another. There's a few, but the two differentiators are, one is the big BSMT 2000 chip, and the other one is what we would call like the emulated one. They used an Atmel programmable chip to basically emulate what this chip does. So if I remember correctly, if your game you can't use this board in any of the newer games. So if you had a Lord of the Rings and you had a dead computer, and but you also had one of these, you could not use this in your newer game. In some occasions, you can use the newer style computer in the older games. Your mileage may vary. It is not perfect every time. They're not forward-backwards compatible. This kind of sucks, because the programming and information on that emulated Atmel chip is proprietary and cannot be replicated. Only Stern has that information, if they still have that information. This board is really easy to reproduce. There's not a lot going on here. It's a bunch of ICs and resistors and a bunch of crazy circuits, but you're SOL if you don't have this chip. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation with some of these boards. Like, I really recommend, if you have problems with these things and if you are not sure what you're doing, to please send it to an actual professional that is super confident to work on these things, because they are kind of rare. Or not rare, but they're finicky. Anyways, let's turn it on. Normally when we turn on electronics that are reported not sure if they're working or something like that, we would want to remove things so it can't hurt itself. But there's really nothing for this to hurt it with, because it's just going to light up LEDs. So we'll turn it on. So via our very handy-dandy little LED chart over here, we're missing 12 volts, which is going to keep most things from working. See on the supplies LED column there, we are missing one LED. So we are missing our 12 volts. I wonder why. Let's find out. Let's see if we can figure that out. I don't remember the boot up sequence for these things. I'm pretty sure the computer needs 12 volts to run. It uses it as part of its blanking circuit, I think. So I don't, this LED here is a +5, so that just means it's on. The other one is a status LED. I think generally when an LED is locked on, unless you're told otherwise, generally that's a bad thing. A lot of times hardware people will run a circuit to make a light blink when it's doing or thinking. But what I can tell here is without 12 volts, it's not running. This computer also needs 12 volts, and we very much have no, what's this called? A dot matrix. We didn't get any sound. We didn't get anything. So I think we just need to figure out where the 12 volts went. All of our fuses show good. The 50 volts and the 24 volt AC, and then all 4 GI fuses are good, but maybe it is as simple as having a dead fuse somewhere. So it would be a good, wait, hold on. 12 volts is lit here, but it's not lit here. Interesting. What does that mean? I don't know. But we can kind of poke around a little bit and see if we can find what is going on. I wonder if I have a white star. Someone on the internet, can you, or maybe Emoto, since you're sitting there.
I'm on the internet. Hi.
Can you check check a white star game? I don't know, like pull up any late 90s Stern game. Let's just go to IPDB and check. Maybe just pull up GoldenEye. That's a game I can think of. No, that's a Sam game. If you go back, well, yeah, there you go. Go to IPDB and pull up that manual.
Lord Pemberton did this one?
Yeah.
What other game he plays with?
Mousing around, some 80s Bally games. Fathom. Hard Body. So if you open up the manual for me. And the second one up from the bottom.
Manual?
Yep. I just want to see if the 12 volts is on a fuse. So these manuals are great because a lot of the good information's right in the beginning. So scroll down slowly. Oh yeah, let's put it up on the screen. Oh, for sure, yeah. You don't want people to see my shortcuts on my Chrome browser? It could be a bad LED, but it's not booting. So, I mean, I guess the one thing I could do is check where I know 12 volts is. Really quick, let's prove that 12 volts is not here. What do you think is ground?
Where am I going?
1 second. Give me 1 second. Yeah, a lot of the good stuff's in the beginning, but give me a second. So one nice thing about these Stern games is that they are wire, or one thing is, well, remember what wire colors are what. A lot of these games from this era use the same wire colors, but red on a Data East Sega Stern game is usually 5 volts. And then for 12, it's usually gray, or sometimes gray with a color. So I can see here on my computer, I've got my gray white, and I have 13 volts there, but it's not booting. Or we aren't booting there. I wonder where I can measure 12 volts from. So it's not a fuse, but what I do need to do is I need to see the rest of it. Let's see. Really quick, I think before we go too crazy, like jumping down a rabbit hole, let me do some really basic stuff. We're going to unseat the power, reseat the power. I'm going to remove the data connection. I don't think you need the data connection between the driver board and this MPU to run the MPU. Actually, I know you don't, but I'm going to do that anyways. I'm going to reseat I'm reseating ribbon cables. So we're going to reseat the ribbon cable on here to the dot matrix board, wiggle those a bit. I have a feeling that, I mean, this thing was working when it was in our other building, and then it got moved over here, and now it's not working. So I'm going to assume that it is human error that caused this thing to not work somehow. So we're going to poke around just a little bit. Let's turn it back on. OK, now it's working. But it's not working. Do you see how it's rebooting over and over again? Could you hear that relay clicking?
Yeah.
So that's essentially, I think that's a GI relay, but that it was losing control of itself over and over. So this is bad. It's not, something's not working right. I don't have any sound. The way that wow, there's not a volume knob on this thing either anymore. I thought these things used to have a volume knob. The last one of these I used was actually at Stern, but theirs had a volume knob, but theirs was also, I think, newer than this one. You do have a channel select, right? So if you have a problem with a certain channel on your for your audio system, you can go right, left, and center channel. So that's what this big knob here is for. Speaker door. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that simulates the coin door or not. But right, if some of us think about the power, this is one thing to get used to, like when you turn on a pinball game, is to like listen to the noises it makes. Right, when you turn on your a Williams game from the 90s, you turn it on and you hear it go bong, and that's actually that's saying something. That one single bong is saying, hey, the soundboard's good. If you turned on one of those games and you heard it go like bong, 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 that's actually telling you something is wrong with the game. When you turn on a Data East game, let's turn one on. Here, we'll turn on The Simpsons.
Oh gosh.
What it does, and some of them will do different things, but what happens is a lot of the times these old Data East games will play the first bit of sound stored in a ROM, right? Or you know, that could have been produced from a certain place, but they pull up one sound, and a lot of the times the sound will be cut short. So you'll have, oh look at, there's me. You'll get it saying something and then it'll get cut off. But you can sometimes identify when things aren't right, when you don't hear them doing the right thing. So that's what that tirade was for. I don't remember what South Park is supposed to do. I think when you turn on South Park, it does the really annoying theme song of South Park. I
thought it's Terrence and Philip laughing.
What?
Or something. Terrence and Philip laughing. That ah ha 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 ha.
Is that what it is when you? I don't know if that's what South Park does, but we'll see. Turn it back on. Okay, well now it's booting up. Look, see, that's correct. Remember what we had before. So what we had before was it was running and then stopping, running and stopping. So we have to remember, like if we tear this thing down a little bit further, right? In the terms of thinking computers, we have one computer located here. That computer controls the software. This is the main processor, the RAM, and the data. Processor, RAM, game code. We have a whole other computer on the other side of this board. We have a processor here. This controls the sound. So sound, RAM, the BSMT chip. Generally, this is sounds. And then we have 4 ROMs for voices, because voices take up more space. You have to have more ROMs to do that. So there's 2 computers, separate computers on this board. And then we add a third one in. We have a whole third computer to run the display. The main computer will kind of dish out the instructions for everything else to do things. So one thing you'll notice on some of those Data East games, when they boot up, they'll say something and then they'll get cut off. What's happening is like the sound section is starting to run. It does what it thinks it's supposed to do, and then the main computer comes on and says, no, stop. And that's why you'll get like half of a voice line, then it'll stop. So that's one thing to remember when you're booting up a Data East or Sega game. Also, when this thing was booting up before, we heard a telltale sign of the GI relay clicking in, clicking out. That goes to show that the computer is starting to run its program and then it's crashing and rebooting for whatever reason. We don't know yet. And we also saw that on the display where we had the South Park and the checksum come up for the display version. But this time, the last time we turned it on, we saw it progress even further. It didn't crash 3 or 4 times. It progressed through and then it was like, hey, I have no pinballs. What's going on? So there's actually a neat thing that we can see. Oh, the volume buttons are here. Yeah, okay, so you have to use volume software. You can't use the actual volume pot. Okay, that's good to know. But, so really quick, actually, before we move on, I want to read the chat. Emoto, can you pull up the South Park manual? Because I want to show a few things that we can do with the with the test bench, because it's kind of fun.
Oh, Roller Pinball asked if there's one to test EMs too.
No. An electromechanical game is its own its own test bench in itself.
I gotcha.
Is that my water? The one to your right?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm dehydrate.
Stand by.
Stand by me.
No balls. Does that mean it's time to hit the bong? Yes, every time your Williams game goes bong, you have to hit the bong.
Perfect.
Let's pull up the The reason I want to see the manual is because I want to know where the ball trough is, because we can do some funny things by tricking the game into thinking it has pinballs, but... but also, I don't want to show this on the screen. Let's just look. Let's use this actually to look and see something really quick. No, keep it up, keep it up. Sorry.
Why don't you want to show it? Look how cool it is.
Okay, so the switch matrix should be right in front. So let's keep going down. Okay, stop there. So on the left side, we have our switch matrix. So it looks like, can you show it on the OBS so I can see what everyone else sees?
Yeah.
You can kind of see. Okay, so on the top bit, we have our switch matrix, top left. So if we look on the second column over, right under where it says switch, so that's column 2, I can see that the ball trough switches are column 2, row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can trick the game actually into thinking the balls are there by pressing those buttons on the the switch matrix on the game. But before we do that, let's watch it go through a boot up sequence. But watch this area here. So this game can control 24 solenoids via its MOSFET drivers here. Or I think actually no, it's like 30, but included in that are also like the flippers and stuff like that. But we have our high current and low current solenoids here on this handy dandy little lamp array. Flash lamps, whatever, but we're looking here. So what does a game do, right? What does a pinball game do when it can't find its balls?
Does a ball search.
It does do a ball search, right? So if the game turns on and it can't find its balls, what is it going to do? All right, so let's watch something that is kind of funny.
I can't find my balls.
All right, it booted up. All right, it's crashing over and over again. Okay, now it's not. Now it is. Okay, what's going on? Let me fiddle with it.
Fiddlesticks.
All right, let me come over here. Let's try to get this solved now. I want to catch it in the act, and I want to see why it is crashing. It's kind of bizarre that it turned on and then it stopped. These pins are kind of grody, but they're not super discolored.
Kyle forgot about the long weekend too. Didn't you? Oh yeah, I just an announcement. We apologize in advance. We will be closed on Monday. So if you are trying to put in an order today or tomorrow, apologies that it's not going to get as fast because also USPS is closed. USPS, FedEx will be observing Memorial Day.
Yeah, and people that work also need days off, so everyone gets a day off, including you guys. So order your parts now. Okay, we're going to try this again.
Yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend, for sure. And then we'll see you in Tacoma. I can't wait. Kyle, while you're doing this, can I ask a question from the chat?
Yeah, please do.
got a
It's
few.
still crashing away.
Ellie SC's got a legit question. If you have a Williams games with lights lighting when they shouldn't, could that be caused by the game having LED lights, or would that be more of a wiring issue?
It could be both. It depends on how they're lighting. If the lights are ghosting, and they're kind of sort of on when the game is when the game is on, then that could be caused by LEDs. If multiple lights are lighting at the same time when they're not supposed to be, then that is a wiring issue, and you have a lamp matrix problem. Either a shorted diode or crossed wires or something bad. So it could be one or the other. The way you could easily check and fix that would be to put incandescent bulbs into the sockets that you feel are being affected. So if you put incandescent bulbs in there, you can eliminate the LED factor.
Nice. All right, Ellie, do that and report back. Multiple lights when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, you've got a lamp matrix short, it sounds like, then.
Uh-oh.
Those are the least fun shorts to track down.
What game are you working on, Ellie? Jay?
Things to think about, like if those won't happen out of the middle of nowhere. They usually happen when someone has been messing with the game a little bit. So think about maybe the last place you worked on the game.
Terminator 2.
Lamp matrix shorts can happen if you accidentally introduce solenoid voltage to the lamp matrix. You can blow diodes out. You can blow things out.
How do you accidentally introduce that?
When you're working with the game on and you touch things that aren't supposed to be touching. That's not fun.
Don't do that.
It happens, though. Let's see if this thing works now. Okay, nope. Let's see. So I don't
Should we just like quit our day jobs and make a new channel called Pinball ASMR? Has anyone done that yet that we could subscribe to? And it just be the sounds of different pinball noises?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should I start a TikTok today?
Follow me around
So
and we
much
will.
work. Can someone else
record.
just do it so I can enjoy the content?
I'm just gonna, for giggles.
Yeah, clicking relay ASMR, like, it's good.
Man, you were born too late. You should have been in the telephone industry when everything worked on little relays. That would have been really satisfying.
I was.
All right, it's working. Nope. I want to watch it for a second. This really isn't causing any damage to the game, right? It's not. It is just going and crashing and going and crashing.
Knocker. And all the screens that come with it.
Man, how did we get it so good a second ago? And what happened between it working and then now not working? We have a blanking issue. Blanking is the state that the processor needs to achieve
it's Cletus.
to control
Cletus
itself.
I was going to suggest that roller pinball, and then I should not tell Kyle to do that.
I guess actually, let me check this too. We have 5 volts, but how much 5 volts do we have? Just to be 100% certain. .09 volts, that's good.
What's up, old school EMs?
I'll measure 5.9. I want to measure 5 volts on the actual processor as well. I'm going to hope it's pin 1. Nope. Is it pin 40?
Hey, by the way, old school EMs, I got your message on Facebook. I will get back to you soon with an answer. I got to check some stuff on our end, and I'll hit you up.
We've got good 5 volts. I mean, do we have 12 still, though? We measured a perfect 12 here. Yeah, we've got good 12. But for some reason, we aren't getting any blanking. Could it be this cable? It could be too simple if it was just the cable. Nothing's plugged off. Everything is good. Always double check that when you don't have shrouded headers. Hey, now it's working. All right, check it out. So watch, the game's going to try to do a ball search. Remember what we were talking about with the solenoids? Oh, it crashed.
Maybe it is the cable.
There it goes. It's going to try to do a ball search. This is the best part. Oh, it crashed when it was trying to do a ball search. Okay, does that mean something?
Pinball Rob needs this rig to work on a Baywatch. Can you just ship it up to him?
It wouldn't help you with the Baywatch because this is White Star.
Just
Baywatch
kidding.
is not White Star, unfortunately.
Good
You
luck.
don't need this to work on a Baywatch. You know why? Because you have a test bench. It is your game. This just allows you to swap boards in and out of its own environment, right? The best tool you can have to work on your Baywatch, though, is another good set of working boards.
Did you do a full power cycle? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, definitely. This is being power cycled a lot.
It's like your 5th power cycle.
50 billion. I'm just going to unplug things. This is not the problem. We can maybe mess with this a little later. I have a very little ability to think right now because I'm like running on no sleep. But okay, it's not crashing immediately again though. Will it do the ball search? There you go. Do you see all those solenoids going? That's it trying to do a ball search. And then you see those sweeps right there. Emoto, you're on the wrong screen.
I was looking at you.
Well, people might have saw it on the small screen, but you've got that's the light show for South Park.
It's very pretty.
Those are all the feature lights lighting up, being represented like on the actual matrix itself. Kind of neat. Let's see if we can get it to do some other funny things really quick while I sneak in front of it.
Transmission Arcade says, try doing it right this time.
Dang. Well, it just crashed again, too.
Sassy.
I'm curious now.
Can you press buttons to make the search succeed?
Yes. I could push like these buttons right here and it would do it, but we might have a real bummer ribbon cable.
What is it? Left, right, up, down, A, B, start, select, or something?
I always think it's select start for some reason, but I know it's not. Here, can I find the balls?
It might.
Oh, I just found the balls and then the game crashed. Anyways, so there's definitely something going goofy here. Everything is fine, but we do have a reset issue. I need to get in here with some, maybe this is something we could work on at some point. I'd like to replace that ribbon cable and just see what we can get. It seems like every time I unplug the ribbon cable, things get better. There, I just found all the balls, so it didn't have to do the full ball search, and it went straight into...
They found your balls! See, altered receipts. Doubting Kyle's balls. They have been found. Yeah, up, down, left, right, BA, start.
See, I just added a credit by hitting the service credit switch. 2 credits. We can go into the test mode. Service menu. It should go ding, 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 ding. I don't know why we don't have any volume. That is its own unique
we need volume.
Problem.
Turn it up.
I don't know. There's no volume knob. Here, how do I? Let's see. So if I go right, quit.
I don't think.
And then if I hit volume, it was supposed to reboot there. Oh, let's find the balls.
Alien Crush.
All right. Yeah, so there's either something wrong with the volume here. I mean, it should have been doing the So none of the channels are reporting. This also, the screen or the decal says left, right, and center, but for some reason this pot has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 selections. Oh wait, what's speaker door? Does that do something? Yeah, it still doesn't work. Anyways, but yeah, that's what this does. It's kind of interesting. You could go as far as starting a game, right? I mean, let's try it. Where's the start button? I think it's a dedicated switch on this game. Oh no, it's in the matrix. Emoto, can you look at the switch matrix? Oh, never mind. It's right here. It says start. So now watch the DMD. We can also start a game. Oh, wait, never mind. We can't start a game without the balls. There, we just started a game of South Park. It's going to kick a ball out. A bunch of lights are on. Things are flashing. Things are going. I could hit the flipper buttons. That would matter, I think, if we had something else going on. But yeah, if we knew all the switches, I mean, we could like clunkily simulate a series of things in the game to simulate a jackpot or something like that. But yeah, that's a test bench. So it's kind of neat. Does anyone have any questions? We're going to probably go sit at the bench now.
No sound, question mark?
It's not, yeah, I don't know why the sound isn't working. That's something we can mess with later. It's not in a, oh, thanks, dude. It's not in a very conducive place to like actually fiddle with it right now. The sound is in the back. I'm sorry, not the sound. The speaker is located, well, it's here.
No choice.
But I can't really get to the back of it right now. I want to make sure that's there. I'm not sure what's going on with that, so we just got to look at it. But if I can get it working, that would be great. I think one problem, or one thing, we kind of made an issue with this poor thing is like this is the test rig that they use to test NVRAM on when we would have like suspect NVRAM, or if someone complained about an NVRAM not working, and then we'd need to test it. So that poor socket has been stressed beyond belief, but I don't think it's that. I think it just is a crummy ribbon cable. So yeah, let me just move this a little forward. And now we can go chill and talk about Emoto's
All right,
Arcade.
see you guys later.
What? Okay, bye, Emoto.
Oh, Emoto.
Emoto looks tired. Emoto, why are you tired?
Because every day that we end our Marco Day, I start a new day in paradise.
What?
It's so funny. My dad says to everyone, because our arcade's name is Captain Crazy's Paradise. So every time someone comes in, he's like, "Welcome to paradise." But he's being facetious because it's a lot of hard work.
It is a lot of hard work. It is paradise, though. I mean, it's more fun than many other things you could be doing, so let's be honest.
Yeah, I just want to get to the part where we're moving in games, and then we can actually start working on the games.
Yeah, you better get that going fast.
I know. And then you need to come down.
I'll
Eska.
gladly take a Alabama Gulf Shore vacation, as long as you still have those jet skis.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, great. I'll totally come. Aaron wants to come.
Yeah,
too.
Troy knows. He's got a huge build out too. We're racing. He's gonna beat me by like a year. No, this place looks awesome.
It won't even be open yet. There's no one to bartend to except for me. I mean, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, we have to keep Kyle hydrated while he works on games.
That is true. I do like to stay hydrated. Oh, man.
We should sell Marco curtains for game rooms. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That's probably maybe why someone stole our backdrops at Pinball Expo in 2019. if you're watching.
What? Why?
You
Why?
want them
Why?
back.
Like, unpaid sponsorship?
Expensive.
Um,
Maybe he has it hanging up in his arcade room as a curtain.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool, I guess. Just a bunch of Marco curtains.
Dude,
Like, oh,
I
I know where
long
those
for
came
that
from.
day where I walk into someone's arcade and I see our backdrop banner that was miserably stolen from us. Transmission Arcade just rebuilt my Data East power supply board. New caps, new 5-volt regulator, noise free, and reflowed the connectors. But it's still not booting fully. I'm getting over 5 volts and cannot get it to settle down. Any thoughts besides user error?
Was your regulator bad? First off, it's that's in that would be the first suspect thing. I wouldn't. Personal tip to you: I wouldn't ever replace a regulator unless you need to replace a regulator. No point in doing it because most of the time they will last forever. A lot of the times they can last forever. Power supplies aren't the only thing a computer needs to boot up. So if the game was booting before and then you rebuilt the power supply and now it's no longer booting, all signs point to user error. If the game wasn't booting before and then you rebuilt the power supply and it still isn't booting, well, that's good. You fixed the power supply. Now you need to check everything else out. So, what game? I guess it doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter what game, but the Data East computers only need 2 things to boot up, 12 volts and 5 volts. So if you have both of those, it wasn't booting at all. Now it's sort of booting more. Oh yeah, no, I know the regulator you're talking about. The LM323K like grunt regulators are super unobtainium now. So for people that don't know, actually, well, this isn't one, but this is something very similar. You see this big boy on this heatsink right here? That's like what those big 5-volt regulators will look like on a lot of those old school power supplies. They work by turning 12 volts into a absolute ass ton of heat. And that's why they need those gigantic heat sinks, and it comes out as 5. They don't usually go bad. If you have 5 volts, your regulator is generally okay. I wouldn't replace that on a first pass through. So like as a rule of thumb for some people that are thinking about rebuilding a power supply, if you were to rebuild a power supply, I would always recommend just doing capacitors first and then addressing any suspect headers, right? Things that look burnt or nasty. If things are still not working, then go for the things that require some more heavy artillery. But if it wasn't booting before, I'm going to say you have connector issues, right? So the easy thing to do next, my friend, is to, if you've got 5 volts at the power supply, let's trace that 5 volts to the next thing. Thank you. Yeah, the C. Ugh, water. Thank you. Our power supply is going to create that voltage, and then it sends it off to things that need it. So if it's not booting, we need to make sure the computer has 5 volts. Check the test points on the computer, and then you trace back. I did that over on that silly little test bench. I checked a pin on the processor to make sure it had 5 volts. Well, if that processor didn't have 5 volts, I'd keep tracing backwards until I could find where we lost the 5 volts. Sometimes that can be in a header. Sometimes that can be on a crappy IDC connector where the wire's pulled up just a teeny bit. That could be it.
Could you add a fan?
So you could check those things out. What's up, Troy? Will we get to see Kyle at Southern Fried Gaming Expo? Perhaps. Maybe I will come out there. It's only 3 hours away.
For a day.
It's just,
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. It's just so far away.
It's not far.
It is. It's 3 hours.
No, and you're talking to Troy, who's going to be also like, that's not far.
That's true. That's true.
This dude's a road warrior.
That's
like
true.
me.
That's true. That's
We
true.
laugh at you.
You're not wrong. I
3
can't say
hours.
those things to Troy. He's totally right. I will come to the Southern Fried Show for at least one day. I guarantee you. It's lit
All right,
pinball.
we
What's
got
up, dude?
a few more questions coming in. Colin Baxter, I want to make custom inserts for my coin returns. What type of material is used?
Use some PETG. I don't know how thick it is, like 3/16 PETG. Go to like a plastic shop and have them cut it for you.
And then Jerry Vision said, my Adams Family left magnet is stuck on.
Uh-oh.
Google says it's kind of common, but doesn't really discuss the causes. Some mention the Q44 transistor. Any tips?
Yeah, so the Adams Family, actually, how does that work? No, it's all on the driver board. No, it is. Adams Family has an auxiliary driver board to run the magnets, right? So they will short out over use, age. Electronics can fail sometimes, but what will happen is I'm going to try to. This is an extreme simplification, but think of a transistor as a switch that is controllable by a computer. The switch that the transistor is switching on and off is a path to ground for your solenoids. So if we were to measure for voltage on any coil on any of these pinball games behind me, we would find that we would have 50 volts or whatever voltage at the positive side, on the banded side of the diode. When a transistor is told to go by the computer, it creates a path to ground, which then allows the coil to fire. Through age and other assorted things, your transistor for that magnet has failed, which has now essentially created an infinite path to ground forever, and that is why it is stuck on. There's two things. Generally, to fix that, the simplest thing to do is just to replace the transistor and you're good to go. But one thing that I do with Adams Family, and this is something that we sell, and this is a very commonplace old school fix, is you fuse individually each of the magnets on on Adams Family. So if one of those magnets does go bad and it gets stuck on, it will draw a large amount of current and pop the fuse, which will then make sure that the playfield doesn't get burnt, which is something that Adams Families are really, really suffer from for a long time. Is magnets get stuck on, they get extremely hot, and it burns the ink on the playfield. So I would recommend first fusing the magnets, and second replacing Q44. Well, if that is the guilty transistor. Sometimes Williams would drive. I think Q44 is a big transistor too. I think that's a tip 36C. It's a real grunty transistor. Sometimes Williams would drive those with a pre-drive transistor, either a tip 102 or a 2N4401, or a combination of all of those things. So if Q44 has failed, I would also replace the correlating pre-drive transistors as well. Oh, fantastic. Jerry Vision has come prepared and fused the magnets. That's good. I used to make those things. Maybe I made them for you and they're in your game. Oh, or you put them in after because, yeah, okay. No, well, look at the magnet's not bad. The magnet is very clearly working because it is being driven by the transistor. Not often coils don't fail as often as their drivers do in solid state games. That's not a blanket, that is a blanket statement, but it's not perfectly true all the time, but you very much likely have a blown transistor. So replace all of them in the affected circuit and turn Adams Family back on and enjoy. I'm trying to look at what Transmission Arcade said. Yeah, dude, you just gotta unplug all of your solenoid drives on that computer and then just start measuring voltages. The computer can't do anything bad if you've unplugged all the solenoids. So just start measuring things, be very careful, and figure out where the loss is. Figure that out before you start going replacing parts. I see a lot of people, and this is just different ways of doing things, but I think my way is right and the other way is wrong. But It's the more you muck with stuff, the more chance you have to screw stuff up. So there's a lot of people will like to go and it's like, oh well, here is a board and I'm going to fix everything all at once, right? There's really no reason to go in here and change out all of these headers and stuff like that and replace all of the connectors, right? I see a lot of people that when they start reading about pinball, they see it's like, oh yes, connectors are a problem. So I'm gonna go buy a new pinball machine. I'm gonna cut all of the connectors off and I'm gonna put new ones on. No. You don't need to do that. You fix things that are broken. Sometimes when you go and try to fix things that aren't broken, you cause so many more problems. I don't subscribe to that train of thought. So, and not that Josh didn't do that, but try to attack. But I'm also guilty of this on this show too, right? A lot of the times it's like I don't need to know what's wrong. We're just going to shotgun it. That's from half experience, and also because we know that we can replace capacitors willy-nilly and not do any damage if we don't screw up. So yeah, we should get this Squawk and Talk board working. I found it in my pile of things.
Oh yeah, what was the Squawk and Talk for?
We worked on the one from my Vector, and I'd really like to get in and finish my Vector. And then once Vector's finished.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah, we will soon. We will soon. We're gonna do Elvira next week. I didn't remember where we left off, and I know I need to get ramps. So.
Yeah.
Next week we'll kind of continue on that, and then I'm hoping that we'll find time to work on something, or maybe swing
Aaron,
that
when
back
are you
out.
bringing your game up?
If I can get the truck, I'll bring it up here.
Yeah, make Marco do it.
Marco, let me get the truck, I'll bring it up here.
No, make Marco bring it.
Surely there's someone that can help you out and get it to the studio, and then that could be the next run of stuff Kyle works
It'll
on.
be a fun game to fiddle around on. That's for sure.
There's a lot of cool stuff on it, like
The ski hill.
the ski hill. Yeah.
It's such a silly.
It's
game.
hot dogging, right?
I want to ski.
Yeah, the fake German guy is my favorite. No, it's
Is
Wipeout.
that what it is? Hot dogging?
Hot dog.
Wipeout.
Wipeout.
Oh, it's Wipeout. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Close.
it's such a funny game. So, Emoto, how is the build out on your arcade currently?
Technically,
Your head is in the shot.
it's officially there is no building happening. Technically, it's going well.
Okay, good. Did you got all of your redesigns done? I remember last time we were on this show,
Yep.
I think people heard your upsetness about the needing things to be redesigned a little bit. So
Yep, we redesigned the entire layout, which was fun. But it allowed us to save money in the long end and get approval, the proper approval pathway from the health department, which is awesome. I like the flow a lot better too. Before it was like right when you walk in, it's the bar, and the big thing is we're an arcade, not a bar.
yeah,
The bar is an afterthought, so I pushed it in the very back, but it also is now right next to the pinball, so it'll make the pinball people happy to have quick access to some nice beer
Yeah.
and wine choices.
you yell over. It's like, yo, barkeep, slide me a beer. It'll just be like Tapper.
Yeah. It's also now near the golf simulators, which will make my dad really happy because I'm sure he's going to be at a golf simulator and then turn around and walk behind the bar and hand someone a drink. Sort of thing.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, it's good. I have been designing a lot of stuff to decorate our walls and windows with, and I'm experimenting a lot with AI generation for some really trippy looking murals.
Make sure you contact your beer suppliers and stuff. They'll give you free stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Aaron brings up the good point of contacting your beer suppliers.
Beer, liquor.
Yes.
Beer and liquor supplier, they will give you cool things.
Yeah.
All sorts of cool
will.
things. I've got a mural you can take from this building right here. I'm looking at it right now.
A urinal?
No, I will. That mural will stay there forever. It is
Until-
precious.
Until this building burns down.
That mural would be really perfect in Alabama. where
It
I
would.
live.
You would go over well. On the last episode of PinTech, when this show ends, we are going to do an expose
Show's never ending.
review of this entire building and all of the stuff in it, and that mural is going to be the best part. Now y'all are getting excited.
Spunky!
What's up, dude?
Thanks for joining us. It's been a bit.
You missed the exciting part, and now we're just chatting and stuff.
So this is a great time since Kyle just got back from Golden State Pinball Festival. He's going to tell us all about that trip because we didn't get to exhibit there this year, unfortunately, but we want to hear all about it. And then in the meantime, also in the chat, drop any questions you have. If you're stuck on one of your repairs, working on a game,
Yeah.
Kyle is here to help you navigate through that turmoil.
Let's talk about that.
So,
Let's talk
while
about
y'all
that.
drop in those questions, Kyle, how was Golden State?
Oh,
Who
it
was
was
there?
fantastic.
What was it like? Did you
This was
sleep in the camp?
Absolutely the best year of any time that they've ever held that show. If last year was like a teeny bit of a dip because of COVID, this year was insanely better. It was amazing. There was over 300 games. 2019
Nice.
was the first year we had over 300 games there. I say we because this is my home show, so I feel very
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
personally aligned with it. I used to bring many games. Many games as in like 2, but still, that's more than 1. We had over 300 games. It was fantastic. There was enough power in the main building now, so now it was 2 rooms instead of 3. It was hot, and that building that it was in doesn't have AC, so it was a little rough during the day, but at night it was great. You go to this show for the camaraderie. There is no pinball community in the entire country that is as friendly and welcoming as the Northern California people are. I swear. It's not just because I'm from there, but those people,
I love them so much.
They-
It's so true. I mean, there's so many great pinball. They're so special.
there's a lot of really great ones for many different reasons, but I've never. Let's go back. One step.
You can't call favorites though.
No, I can't
Think
call
of all the
favorites.
other communities.
These are
that
my
we
people. These
get
are
to
my people, so I'm
experience.
totally calling favorites.
These are his children.
This show is at like a small town festival ground. So you've got the show inside of a few buildings, and then the really unique and the best part about it is at that showgrounds there's a massive campground outside. So a lot of people, most people that bring games or are just very dedicated pinball weirdos, like most of us are, will camp, right? Bring their trailers, rent a camper, bring a tent, something. So you get multiple show experiences at one show. You get the show of the pinball inside, but this year there was 17 games outside in the campsite. You can come to this show, and at nighttime, when the show doors close, I mean, you've got the whole campground to go and meet and enjoy and talk to people. And it's not like some partitioned or segregated or like, you know, you're not allowed here, don't come into our campsite. It is very much a like, hey, you walking by, you're not drinking anything, like get in here, have a beer and play some games with us. There was a few campsites that definitely bring more than one game. A lot of them have none, but it's just a really fun time. The real show is at night. Some highlights. There was 3 TNAs for some reason outside at the campground, which was kind of funny. Some dudes from LA had 2 in their camp, and then another guy in a big inflatable geodesic dome had one inside of his tent. The linked Metallicas came back out where the fuel targets will tilt out the game that is right next to it. So
I need a
teams-
total rematch on that. It's not fair. I was told the wrong rules and objectives, and I would have totally slayed.
So
if
there's
I
2
wasn't
teams that'll
told
line up
in
on 2
correct.
Metallicas, and the goal is to hit the fuel targets. If I hit the fuel target and Erin was playing next to me, her ball would be tilted, and she has to get out of line. And the goal is to do that until the other team is out of people. So it's all about getting to tilt as fast as possible. It's fantastic. Then there's my friend Mark in San Luis Obispo. He always sets up the super sweet campcade. This year he brought his flipper football again, which is always fun. A weird Capcom game. Anyways, the campground is fun. This show is really, really, really interesting, and it's such a passionate community. It's all community driven, right? The 28 Stern games that I helped Chris set up in that room were his because he's the dealer, but the other 200 and whatever games were all brought from people who wanted the show to be super cool. So yes, Camp Silverball. It is the best part of that show. Anyways,
Camp Silverball? Wait, whose camp is Camp Silverball?
That's what it's called.
Hey, Jackie Tran.
Outside is Camp Silverball. So next year,
Did you see Lynn's Arcade's new setup where they had a stage to
because
level
remember
out
last year the fast breaks were sinking into the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a stage there this year, and we played. It was actually really funny because Joe from Sacramento always brings Lost in Space and Godzilla to the shows. They're an uncommon game. You don't see very many of them. But this year, Lynn's Arcade also brought Lost in Space and Godzilla outside, and Barbed Wire. Barbed Wire is what I was playing most of. That was incredibly fun. We got some good times on that game. But
that's awesome.
yeah, it was cool, man. And then the inside was good. The EM room was great. They combined the electromechanical games and the numeric solid state games into one room. So there was a really good mix in that room. All the alphanumeric stuff went into the main room. I'm trying to think of some of the interesting games that were there. There were a lot. Probably the most interesting one that I've never gotten to play before because there's only like 5 of them was Stern Q. Stern Q is a really interesting game. It's in a pinball cabinet. It uses 2 displays, one for score, one for ball and play, and then it uses lights for each player. But it is a game that has 2 flippers and a plunger, but it's a nudging game. So look it up, CUE. You plunge the ball, and then there are dead bumper caps all over the playfield that indicate or that are a pool ball. And the goal is to light all the pool balls as the ball is dropping down the playfield. There is a pop bumper garden, kind of like on Paragon, right in the center with an actual pop bumper. And the goal is to keep the ball out of that, use that pop bumper to bump it out. And if it bumps out, there's 2 lanes on the kind of the left and right that the ball will drain out of. And then there are 2 flippers on either side to shoot it back up to the top of the playfield. So the goal is it's a nudger. Yeah, Moto's going to pull up a picture. Let's take a look here. Very, very, very bizarre game. I think they only made...
wow, look at all those freaking pops.
Yeah, so it's a single...
Whoa, what the flippers are they doing?
Yeah, and then that middle bit is a magnet also. So when the ball rolls over
Who
that
brought
little...
this game?
I don't know who brought it, but I think they made single digits of this game. There's not very many of them. It's really fun.
Oh, Aaron, look at this layout.
I'm looking at it.
So you have it's a real nudge monster, and
Is there a tilt in it?
Gotta be.
Yeah, but it wasn't set very tight because it's way more fun to play, because it's not easy. The goal's not easy to begin with. So I played it once.
It seems like though it would be hard to drain.
No, it's very easy to drain.
Really? Maybe your nudging skills just.
No, look, the geometry between the 2 lower balls and like the outside of that pop bumper garden is a lot smaller than you think it is.
It looks tiny. It's just like.
And then the opening between the pop bumper is just really big, but.
Oh really?
So where are the flippers?
So do you see them to the bottom left?
Look.
So when the ball settles in there, you just use them to flip it back to the top. So it's just a nudging game. Yeah. So I think if I remember right, this was the last game that
6 units.
Yeah. So this was the last actual game that Stern made, I think, before can you click on Stern Electronics, that thing up top?
No.
And then can you click date? No, scroll to the bottom. Keep going down. Oh, never mind.
Laser Lord. Orbiter 1.
Okay, so it wasn't the actual last game they made, but it was definitely one of the last games that they made. Well, they never made it, right? That was the problem. Laser Lord's not a real game. It's
not a real game?
No, they made like 2, and then there was a flyer, but Stern went out of business before they actually made the game. The last game that Stern made was Iron Maiden and Orbiter 1, but Orbiter 1's not pinball, but
So we'll never get Orbiter 2, is that what you're saying?
Ah.
Oh yeah, I remember this Iron.
Yeah, it has the crazy domed plate. It's the best.
It's so cool.
It is great. What's Hypnot?
It's another one of those games where they made things for it but never made the game.
So, what do you mean they went out of business? Like Iron Maiden, like before regular Iron Maiden?
Yeah, this Iron Maiden was like not the band Iron Maiden.
Okay.
So Stern Electronics went out of business in 1983.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Gary started, was it Pinstar? Gary started another company and made made conversion kits and like made a game for like a year or two, and then he convinced with Data East to open a pinball division with him running it. So then he ran.
Orbiter 1 is not pinball. What?
It's barely pinball.
What?
It's barely pinball. It's not. It's weird. I mean, I don't know. You can argue many things aren't pinball. No, that's pinball. It's just a weird game. But yeah, yes, it does rain in California, but it doesn't rain all the time at that time. There was one year, I think it was 2019 or 2018 of the Golden State Pinball Festival, where it rained like insanely hard after it not raining for like a whole year. And the whole parking lot turned into a mud bowl. And I remember it was really funny because I was standing out there doing something, and there was a car stuck, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks for that person." I walked away, whatever. And a tow truck came, and that tow truck also got stuck in the mud, trying to tow that car out. So then a third tow truck came and stayed on the pavement, and then towed the tow truck out that was towing the other truck. It was gnarly.
That's fun.
That was a bummer. Yeah, it was pretty nice though. I miss California has perfect weather. I miss that. I also forgot how allergic I am to California. My allergies were off the chain, so that was not fun.
Here?
I don't get bad allergies here. Yeah.
Really?
Uh-uh.
You're like the opposite of everyone in everywhere.
Well, that's because I didn't grow up here, so I'm not allergic to all the trees. I'm allergic to all the golden grass in California, though, I tell you. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Q was amazing. Grey Wolf brought his awesome firepower with the crazy subwoofer.
Grey Wolf.
There was some really...
Grey Wolf was the one who brought a Lord of the Rings LE last year? Or was
I
that
don't
someone
know.
else?
I only know of Grey Wolf's like old games. I'm not sure what new games that he might have.
We did have a question in the chat, and
let's answer. Sorry. Kill Bill. I played Kill Bill again. I haven't played that since like 2017, 2018.
Oh yeah.
That thing's super cool.
Elland Brattlberg, if you're still here on YouTube, they asked, any chance you could show me which launch kicker to use for a Data East Ninja Turtles? The one with a hole or the other one?
Well, the correct one to use is the one with the hole. That is the factory standard one. I don't like that thing because it's a pain in the ass. But to upgrade it to the modern Stern fork kicker, you have to replace the entire assembly, which you can do. But you do need to do some measuring, ensure that it's square. Sometimes they don't fit perfect because the base is a little different, in a different shape than the original. So it does require a bit of carpentry. That is definitely the way to go if you are up to the challenge, but you can get the one with the square hole currently. So.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Jake Crane said, Kyle, what about the little kid game where the ball goes in a circle? Tell that story.
Well, first off, that's not a little kid game. That little kid game is probably the best game that involves a plunger, and it is called Bell Ringer.
Is it pinball?
No, because it does. Well, yes, it is, but it doesn't have flippers.
It's an old EM?
So it's flipperless.
I'm looking it up.
So Gottlieb was trying to get into the redemption market hard at that time because their pinball was not good and they didn't make very many of them. But they made this game called Bell Ringer. It's in like a 3/4 size cabinet. It's basically the skill shot from Arena put into a stupid little cabinet. Yeah, that's it. So, do you know, you can take, in one guess, Emoto, you can tell me who was insanely good at that game. Like, ridiculous, like, why? How are you so good? One guess. Actually, two guesses.
Dave Valansky.
No. Another guess, and it's a better answer than David Valansky.
TJ.
No.
Mike Vinicor.
No.
He's good at stuff.
You're out of guesses. Anna Moretti. I got my ass handed to me by a 9-year-old.
Why didn't I guess Anna? Oh my gosh. If you said Smash Brothers, I would have been like,
no, dude. Anna, we were playing some games, and I said, Anna, let's play Bell Ringer. And so she put on a 4-player game. So it was me, Sophie, Mike Vinicor, and Anna. And Anna walks over to this thing. Put the camera on really quick.
Hold on.
Anna walks over to this thing. She puts on 4 players, and she said, watch. And she went like this. And she just looked at me. And I was sitting there looking. It was right in the middle. I was like, what the she just looked at me. It was wild. So I got my butt handed to me by a 9-year-old. So did Vinicor. We played that game for what felt like an hour, and I just got my butt handed to me the whole time. We did some like quadruple elimination challenges, but it was
amazing.
It was great. It's a really fun game. But it's designed for tickets, right? So if you get the center, you get 15 tickets. If you get the outside one, you get 5 tickets. You know, but it's also a great betting game. Many dollars can be sacrificed on that game. Gottlieb Nudge It. That's another goofy Gottlieb redemption game. But so pull up Bell Ringer again, Emoto. So let's show the people really quick. So you see Bell Ringer. Okay, now look up. Now go look at Gottlieb Arena. Yeah, just type in Arena and let's see. Let the poor thing think. There it goes. Yeah. Now look at the look at that one that says upper play. Or no, look at the. Oh no, that's fine.
The flyer?
No, that's fine.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess that's fine too. You can. They just took that thing. It's like Arena's not a very good game. It kind of sucks. But you know what the best part of Arena is? That skill shot. So they were just like, okay, let's just make a game based on that skill shot and make kids win a bunch of tickets.
Is that Jungle Lord on the playfield? Like the Jungle Lord? Wait. Oh, maybe not. Never mind.
Almost. They're like, man, we can't come up with a game. Let's knock off a bad Williams game from like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the. It's got a good layout. It's actually that's not that bad of a game. It's kind of fun. I like Gladiators more, which was also at the Golden State Pinball Festival. Gladiators was supposed to be the Legend of Zelda.
That's right.
Yeah, that
Wait,
license
is
fell
that
through.
right? I thought it was. Yeah, you're right.
I like Gladiators.
I always get it mixed with Dungeons and Dragons.
The story that Ray Tanzer told me, and I would believe...
Because they couldn't get the licensing, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So they were going to license it as Zelda, and then that fell through. And then they wanted to license it as American Gladiator. But either that fell through or the show flopped at that time, so they decided not to go through with it, and then they just called it Gladiators. And it's pretty wild. I'm trying to think of other like rare games or interesting games that were there. I mean, everything is interesting. All pinball's interesting, but there were a couple. There's a Barracuda. There was a Sorcerer. Those are always fun to see in the wild. Someone brought their Spectrum. That was fun. It might have been my Spectrum. I think I didn't actually look or see who brought that, but I missed that game. All the new games were represented very well. All the Stern games, recent ones. We had a James Bond 60th there that Chris brought, which was really fun. That was my first. I got to enjoy that for a while. What else was there? All the New Jersey Jack games were there. Got to play some Galactic Tank Force. Got to do some... that weird whirlwind conversion thing was there. But let's not talk about that because that's not a good one. But.
What meeting are y'all talking about? Hi, Rob. We are talking about the Golden State Pinball Festival, which was last weekend in Lodi, California.
Yep.
One of
just talking about some of the neat games
pinball
that were there.
shows you can go to, festival style. Obi, you're back.
What's up, bro?
Obi, say something in the chat. We miss you.
We miss you. I hope everything at work is going great.
You didn't get to meet Obi yet, right?
No, I did.
Oh, you got to? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Me and him and Crystal and
MGC.
His wife and then Mark Seiden and Aaron Seiden all went out
when you went up to Chicago. That's
Logan.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then I got to meet him for the first time at Expo last year, so that was heartwarming. So I'll see you at Expo again this year, mate.
Oh, bell ringer. All right. Steve, old school EMs, you're on.
Yeah, you gotta do that. I will
slay in some bell ringer and channel my inner little flippers.
Oh, dude, you got it. Bell ringer is a great
I'll
game.
hit up Anna and be like, give you some strats. But yeah, so we were talking about Golden State. Next weekend, we're going to Northwest Pinball, an arcade show. And then we're planning for a big Southern Fried in end of July. It's good stuff. What are your thoughts on VarCon?
VarCon's so cool.
What's Kyle's take on VarCon?
I don't know. That game's trippy and super rad. The only time I've ever seen one was at the Galloping Ghost Pinball Arcade in.
VarCon's like a game that either Kyle. I'm surprised you don't have a strong answer because in my head you would either be like, yes, it's the best game ever, or you would have some reason why it's the worst game ever.
No. Well, I mean, it's weird and it's. Doesn't make sense and
because everything's like upside down.
It's super cool. I think it's super cool. That's really special.
I would love to have one of these.
Yeah, the only one that I know of that's available for public play like most day of the week is at the Galloping Ghost Pinball Arcade.
Museum of Pinball had one, so someone has another one somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, then like they have one at the VFW too, but again, those are places that aren't open, right?
Yes.
So it's pretty wild. Yeah, there's the VFW in Michigan. This guy has like the best pinball collection ever and does shows every once in a while.
Yeah, Pinball Rob just went there like last weekend or something.
Creepy little VarCon. So yeah, I think that's a cool game. I like weird pinball for sure.
Yeah.
Did you get to play Spirit? Yeah, of course I did. I love Spirit. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spirit is a very rare old Gottlieb game. You know where else you can play a Spirit? At the Galloping Ghost Pinball Arcade.
You can play
you know what else they
everything
have
at
there,
Galloping
too?
Ghost.
They have a Defender, a Williams Defender. All three of those games are insanely rare. And they also have a Cubert's Quest. They have like a bunch of really rare stuff in the back. I definitely recommend anyone who is in the Chicago area to go check that place out. I mean, the video game arcade is super cool and insane and overwhelming, but the pinball section is really cool.
Thanks for the resub.
Drugger, what's up? Thank you. The round shape like pinball.
Is anyone going to SEGE? I forget what that stands for. Altered B Seats. It's a Greenville Comic-Con type show, maybe Gaming Expo. I feel like I should know. We are not attending that. It is unfortunately not fully in our radar yet. But
do you think it's
maybe we're
Southeastern?
supporting it sponsoring wise. Southeast Game Experience. That's right.
Got it. Actually, go really quick, Emoto. Go to IPDB and let's show people Defender, because Defender is one of the coolest pinball games no one will ever see.
Oh, nice. Old School EMs has a Spirit and Defender board in the shop.
Dang.
Oh, I keep going the wrong way.
He's probably talking about video games. Defender,
Spirit
the
video
game?
game?
Is cool. Huh?
Is there a Spirit video game?
No, well, he's probably talking about the
Like
Defender video game.
With the horse? What am I looking up?
Defender. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's so good. Yeah, check that out. So
What's
pull up
Manila?
a picture of just the playfield, like a good overshot of the playfield.
No, let's see who are these people? Do we know them?
Bunch of nerds.
Look at this! No, they're so happy. That's a really good quality scanning. Who scanned this in? It's amazing. They just don't make ads like these.
Yeah, pull up like a good overshot of the playfield if you
someone
can
has
find one.
Defender. I feel like Defender is more common than the other games we just looked at.
Can you get a top down of the playfield? Damn, they don't really. Huh? No, Williams Defender. Dang, there's not a good playfield shot. Okay, if someone ever finds a Defender, take a picture for me. But
where did I feel like I just saw this game somewhere. I mean, you can kind of see. There you go.
Well, the neat thing is this game is all drop targets, which you can't see because of the angle of this photo is bad. But
on the sides.
There's a lot of drop targets just in the center of the game. So like imagine like the bad guy thing in Cactus Canyon like absolutely came from this game. Because it'll stick up a guy that you have to reaction shot. So there's like 3 or 4 drop targets in the center of the playfield. It's got 2 5 banks of individual reset up-down drop targets. It's really, really interesting. It's a pretty wacky game. The best part about it is there is a player-controlled ball kickback. So there's another button on the left side. So when the ball is going out the left out lane, you hit that other flipper button, and it shoots the ball back into play. And it is so cool, so cool. Figgy Dan, what's up? Thanks for joining.
I'll put it here.
It's a neat game. It's super rare. You don't see those very often. I've only ever seen 3 or 4 of them. They only made 300 of them. That was the time. That was that era where Williams made like 3 games in a year, and they all went on one flyer because they didn't make any games.
Ooh, look, we have a parts question. Thank you, Jackie. Jackie asked, "My Genesis robot reveals work. Wait, my Genesis robot reveal works if I manually touch the switch, but it does not start in game when it's supposed to. What part do I need to replace?"
Does it work when you touch the switch with your finger or with the ball? Because if it works when you touch it with your finger, it could be your finger actuating the switch and not the ball. So it could be just a very try adjusting it so the switch will do, so the ball will do the same thing.
Oh yeah, toss the ball up to it and then adjust the switch.
Yeah, just roll the ball over, right? Because your finger is fatty and soft, and when you push your finger into the slot, the skin will push into the slot and push the switch down further than a ball would. So always check switches with the ball when you're trying to solve a intermittent thing like that.
That is a really great tip.
Yep. That's a good
that
one.
I always forget about too, and then when I'm working on a game, like Kyle's voice comes into my head. Check it with the ball, not your finger.
That's like a if I were to like if I had like a bunch of tips in front of me, and I that one would be a definite Pinball 101 tip, because that one will throw people up a lot. So wait.
Jackie said I meant touching the switches together with my fingers under the play.
Yeah,
it's supposed to trigger with the very target.
So can you put it in? Run a like a business card between the switch contacts and make sure that it's clean. Make sure that the very target will, actually close the switch when it's time. Those are that's what you're running into. It's like if the game software can pull it up, but the ball can't do it, you know that the problem's physical, right? So it's a matter of just trying to figure out, why the switch is dirty or what needs to be adjusted to make it work. But yeah, okay, good differentiation. Thanks for that. Figgy Dan has a question about the Baywatch trough switches. Oh yeah. I remember talking about this weeks and weeks ago. Baywatch issue with the trough switches ended up being the resistor on the MPU. All the switches on the row were out. Wow. Do you have any idea what caused that resistor to go out? Was it burnt? Did solenoid voltage accidentally get introduced to the switch matrix? But yeah, Jackie Tran, just to also remind, don't clean that switch with like a hard file. Like run a business card through it, just in case you don't want to run something too abrasive through, because you could remove or destroy some of the plating. So that's why we want to use a business card. Yeah, I had some really fun games of Defender. Now I'm thinking about it. I had some really fun games of Defender with Tanyo at what's it called? Pinball Expo last year. It was, yeah, they're neat. It's a good game. I wonder if they have that at the Pinball Palace.
I did not see Defender at the Pinball Palace.
Dang.
But he has a lot of games, so it might have been in his other studio across the street.
Got it. Yeah. I have to get down there still. All right, so a coin mech slammed into the trough switch. Believe it burned up. Huh. Yeah, I couldn't tell you why or what that could cause something like that, but that's I'm glad you found it, and now you have a functioning Baywatch, so that's fantastic. Go play the game. Save Kevin. Or don't. Let Kevin drown. Both are fun. Yeah, shucks. These questions are rolling in slow today. Let's get some good ones. Come on. We've got 10 more minutes or so. Oh, Imoto. You know who I roasted?
Oh, Kyle.
Not roasted. I didn't roast him, but I told him that he needs to stream at the same time every day so we can always raid him. Mr. Manu himself.
Manu was there?
Yeah. I got to hang out with Manu for a second, and then one of his friends also came to the show, and I told Manu it brings me great pleasure to raid him every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And he's like, that's why I always get on at that time, because you've trained me to get on, so I will get a raid when I start streaming. And I was like, my friend, it is mutual. I will give you all the viewers.
Like, it's true.
Like I'm some Twitch
But you
lord.
know what, everyone else? If you start streaming, right after us, or like as we're ending, so we can actually go and raid you, then you will get your chance too. Because when there are other pinball streamers on next to Manu, we won't just go to Manu because sharing is caring, and he understands too.
He understands. We do like to share the love, so if you guys
He
want
likes to
start
share the
streaming-
love too. So the more streamers, the better, especially since we lost our forefather of pinball streaming in the streaming realm. We have to pick up the pieces he dropped for us.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not sad about it. Because
Because now I get all the views.
no one wants to watch what I don't do what Jack does.
Is going
but
to rise.
Jack deserves his time to be done, dude. It's like,
oh yeah, no. He started the pathway, and then everyone continues it.
yeah,
I think it's
a lot
great.
of work. It
is a lot of work. I've
gone over there and I've
taking a breather.
streamed with Jack once or twice or thrice. I don't know.
But also
But it's a lot of work, man.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, definitely gonna
Okay,
miss it.
Edible Bard, thank you for this nice paragraph. So Edible Bard says, I'm still working on No Fear EOS flipper issue. I tested the board itself, and it seems shorting the pins doesn't cause it to register for the lower right flipper. But every other flipper EOS works. I know the EOS isn't really used, but I don't like seeing the credit dot.
No, well, you do need the lower right flipper. The EOS switch is used on those games, it's very apparent in multi-ball when it's not working. I would need to look at the schematic of a Fliptronic board to help you out. The Fliptronic board, wait, now I'm trying to second guess myself. I think that board takes in all of the switches. I think it takes in all the switch inputs. So flipper switches and the EOS switches. But let's retouch on that one. Let's retouch on that one. That one would be a good one to like dig into and see if we could figure something out. But I mean, and it's weird to me that all of the other ones work because, the common thing with those Williams games is if you're working on the game with the game on and you accidentally short solenoid voltage to the switch matrix, you will blow up the column driver on the whatever that ULN 2803 chip or whatever, and you'll lose like a whole column of chips. So for whatever reason, if you maybe accidentally introduce solenoid voltage to the switch processor that is the end of stroke switches on the Fliptronic board, maybe you accidentally only blew up one. But I don't know how they do that. I'm not sure how they work that, if it's part of like its own little mini matrix or what, I don't remember. So that might be a good question for next week if you want to remind me. And we can pull it up on the computer and kind of look through it a little bit.
I believe it also takes all the switches. Thanks for another awesome show.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks for joining. I'm exhausted. I feel like absolute dog doo-doo.
Jackie Tran's got a noob question. I love noob questions because that is my department. I'm trying to replace some missing posts, but there's nothing to attach the post to. Just an empty hole. What screw or metal piece do I need to thread the post onto? That's not a noob question. That's a very
it's a good question. Well, so it depends on if there's hardware underneath or not. If that hole is supposed to get a machine thread screw, it'll be a relatively clean, wide-ish hole going all the way through the playfield. If that screw is supposed to be held on using like a wood screw that only holds into the wood, it'll be a lot smaller and it generally won't go all the way through the playfield. So if you need to put a metal post through that is threaded, if it has the big hole, you need to attach it with a T-nut from the bottom. Search that term, T-nut, just, the letter T, N-U-T, like Colin said at the bottom. That is how that would work. To identify the hardware, though, that's a little harder. On the Gottlieb games, sometimes they can be a little bit different. Is it just a screw, or does it have a post with like a nut or another screw on top where you have to screw something on? So there's a few variables, but
This is for the old Gottlieb EM.
he was talking about Genesis, I think. So I'm assuming that we're still talking about Genesis. But yeah, there's
Oh, okay. Genesis isn't an EM, is it?
no.
No, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, this is the perfect segue to drop in Fun with Pinball's EM online repair clinic, which I'm going to just drop in the chat anyway. If
Yeah.
you're on
Always check those
Twitch.
out. It's an amazing resource.
And yeah, it's
Then
just,
Rob,
I'm really excited for.
why does the Monster Bash coil launcher bracket break? Because it was designed really badly, and it's just bad. And then when the game got remade, the Chicago Gaming remake used the same bad bracket, and it's just bad. So, unfortunately, that's just
I have
how,
to look.
that's how it be.
I have Genesis in my head, but I can't exactly remember.
Genesis is the game that has
It's
the,
like super sci-fi looking, right?
kind
I
of.
like.
It has the
I
best
just want to see the
backglass
backglass
ever.
again.
With the
It's
little
bluish,
person
right?
and the scientist and the goth babe.
Oh, wait, no, I'm lost.
They're like
I was thinking Class of 18.
on it.
Oh, it's the weird one. Yeah, with the dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think about
This
the
one,
goth babe.
this game's awesome, actually.
Most
Not
people think
actually,
about the
not that
small
anyone
guy.
was doubting its awesomeness, but
I love
this
me
is a
some
cool
Genesis.
game. Didn't Bang Back have this game for a bit?
Yeah.
Aaron says they have it.
We played it in the
Nice.
women's state championships this year.
Nice. Oh, yeah, it's got that lower playfield.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the robot is, and that's what the viewer was
Oh,
bringing
that's
up.
where Jackie's very
So
target.
there's some lights there, and when you complete the sequence and you hit the target, it lights up the robot under the playfield.
Ben Rob asked, is the SS better or welding?
You could try welding, but they're just always going to break. So I would just keep some on hand. There's
Oh, ACDC is a copy of this.
yeah, the ACDC
Cyclical.
has the same, very similar cutout. Well, you've got the same thing too. What's up, Andrew P. Bentley? Nice to see you here, mate. The window, like the playfield window for Congo and for Creature from the Black Lagoon are the exact same piece. So it's like, I mean, that doesn't mean why. I mean, Gottlieb obviously didn't like. Stern didn't use the Gottlieb like piece, but you know, when Williams was making a game, they were like, "Oh, we've already got this playfield window." Well, I guess John Trudeau did both of those games too. Oh wait, we're not supposed to say his name. He who shall not be named did both of those games and just
He doesn't
used
exist.
a piece that existed already. But yeah. Oh, the stainless steel version? I really don't know. I've never used the stainless steel one. But I also haven't operated a Monster Bash that had one break all the time. I mean, they do break, but I've never had one. I mean, if you're saying it's breaking all the time, that's a little worrisome. But I mean, we used to go through like 1 or 2 a year at the one that I used to maintain. So I've never used the stainless one though. Yeah, interesting. I'll have to take a look at the comparisons of Genesis and AC/DC with the relationship of where everything is. That's kind of interesting.
I don't think so. Well, kinda actually,
You
because the
think-
ramps are right there.
Yeah, well, he's saying that the 3 bank of drops, ramps, right? Like
To the left, yeah.
it's kind of it is. I can see that. I can see that with the ramps, the drop targets, and that. And then you add the little mini playfield, and it's just like
Oh yeah, report back, Ben Rob. That's awesome.
I'm gonna come to
Drager,
Savannah
we have
in
a
a couple
Chicago
weeks, Ben.
Monster Bash at our location, and it does not play very nice. Throw it in the trash,
Yeah, have someone
and then tell me which trash it is in, so I can go dumpster dive.
have the operator fix that thing up. They take a lot
My
of work.
Genesis is signed by who you should not be. Does that make it worth more? That's just,
I mean, that's fine. It's just we don't
it's a
celebrate
shame.
that
He
person,
made
but
such good games.
so Steve Young had some old Williams posters that he was selling and getting rid of. So when I was talking to him a couple months ago, I was like, Steve, it's like, give me this one, this one, this one, this one. And he sent me those posters, and I was like, oh, this is neat. I'm going to take them out. And I was showing Marco, and I got a Tales of the Arabian Nights poster that was signed by John Papaduke. And I was like, I called Steve, and I was like, this is interesting, Steve, but I don't know if this like increases or decreases the value of this poster. And he thought that was amusing, and so did I. But if you guys don't know, you've been living under a rock, maybe, but John Papaduke is the famous person who took a lot of people's money and never delivered a product, like a lot of people, unfortunately. Very passionate pinball person, maybe not the world's best businessman, but as soon as I saw that John Papaduke was going to work for Deeproot, I kind of saw the writing on the wall there, especially.
Unfortunately, many have, but made for interesting content.
Yeah, and his games are
In the
fantastic.
podcast.
Just dude loves pinball, just not a great businessman.
There can be only one. Yeah, that's right. All right, now my mind is refocused.
Well, oh, because there's 2 APBs in here.
It was messing with my head.
Well, one of them is
All
an
right, we're gonna
enterprise,
look
and the other one is
celebrating.
a man, I guess. So we'll see. What do y'all think about Punny Factory? I actually didn't even watch the release trailer for that thing, but I reserve all my judgment for everything until I play it.
I'm just a person.
Both of you are very valuable persons, so no discounting. Well, that was a nice time. Thanks for looking at that weird test fixture with me, which I think I need to fix.
Yeah, that was
with a
actually
ribbon
pretty
cable.
cool. We have a bunch of other test fixtures for all the other manufacturers too, and it just looks like a museum piece. They're just giant. They're way bigger than pinball machines almost. And there's all these little buttons and stuff you can push.
Yeah, but they fit on a bench. I guess that's like the thing. So it makes sense if you're a bench tech, but they're worthless to the normal person. I mean, unless you just want to collect big things because they're neat, but which is fine.
Corporations are people.
Corporations are people in America. Which I hate, but we're not going to turn this into a political stream. But yeah, so thanks. I guess the backstory for the people that kind of care is my plane got in like extremely early this morning, and I am dead. I am so tired.
I didn't know you got in this morning.
Yeah, I don't think I got to sleep until like 4. Yeah, tomorrow I might be sick. We'll see. No, I was kidding. One more question. I'll give you that. No fear. Still have batteries in it. Can I change them with the game on so I keep my settings? No, you can totally do that. Just be very careful. But that's absolutely the way you do it without losing your settings. No fear is WPC S, right? So is it on the? It's on that like extra board that sits off the game, correct? I guess it doesn't really matter, but just be careful when you're taking the batteries out and replace them in the same orientation, and you'll be all good. That's totally the way to do it. Save your high scores, your settings, everything. Not on the board. It's on a separate board. Yeah. It's on a board that's mounted to the board, which is a great idea.
Yay, Jackie, I was literally going to ask if you were coming to Northwest. Awesome. Stop by our booth. Say hey.
Yeah, thanks, y'all, for the kind words. Thank you, Mr. J. Crane.
Kyle won't be there. Sorry, Kyle.
No, it's fine. Your moto's infinitely more interesting, so hang out with her. I'm going to be hanging out with my cats. I need to finish Hotline. I played a bunch of Hotline at the pinball show, and I took a picture of the shooter lane, so now all I need to do is sand that damn thing in. Oh, and then I spent a bunch of time, I was drinking a beer with Wade Krause, and he was telling me the techniques he would use to harden and seal my plywood that I put on top of Hotline. So I'm going to have a real bitchin' Hotline here soon.
Oh, that's cool.
One day.
Wade Krause is so amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen Wade in a year. I love talking to Wade. He's going to hook me up with Randy when I go to LA to go to his crazy EM room, so I can go and play in Randy's crazy EM room.
Yeah, we will definitely go play. I will definitely go play your arena. APB 2.0.
Hell yeah. Go play some arena. The skill shot is the greatest thing in pinball. It's so good they turned it into its own game. Who's streaming? Who are we gonna raise?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, don't miss us this time, because we weren't there. You could have hung out with Kyle at Golden State.
No one wants to hang out with me.
Next year, I'm hoping, because I love that show so much, and I want to camp.
I'm camping.
And I want to also set up a Paperboy, live action Paperboy game at the campsite where everyone's in little bicycles and throwing stuff.
That was one of my favorite games.
That's amazing.
Right?
That is a good game.
I played on the
Super Nintendo? Game Boy?
Game Boy, the black and green one. I still have it.
Dang.
Yeah.
Aaron still has an original Game Boy.
Aaron's old school.
You know what I realized too? Games are a lot cheaper in California than they are here. For a minute I was like, oh, games are way cheaper in the Southeast, but it's not true. Some guy on one of our Carolina Facebook groups was all boasting. He was like, oh, I just got a Guitar Hero for $5,500. And like just a few hours ago, I was asking TJ, it's like, hey, how much like do Guitar Heroes go for nowadays? He's like, $2,500, $3,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What game do I have? Do I have Guitar Hero?
No, well,
No,
we're talking like
what's the other one? Guitar
stand-up.
Freaks.
It's the stand-up
Guitar
Guitar Hero, you know, like the coin-operated one.
Yeah. I love the stand-up Guitar Hero.
Me too, yeah. And it's like, if you live in California, you can get one for like a semi-reasonable price, but if you live here, you have to pay.
Your conversation with Manu did not stick because he's not streaming.
That's fine.
Right now.
No, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of games down here for sure. But like, I know that they used to be cheaper before COVID, and then when COVID happened, everyone and their grandma in South Carolina wanted a pinball game or a video game, and now everything is just like insane. These guys go to this auction in North Carolina, and it is wild how expensive that crap goes for, and a lot of it is crap. And it's like, and they're like boasting, like, I got a good deal, and it's like, oh God, it's like, just go like a few hours up north, and you'll find like way better deals. But
I know I need to buy a bunch of Japanese games while I'm in Northwest, but I don't know how I'm going to get them back.
Shipping container, they don't cost that much money. You can rent a portion of a shipping container, and as long as you're patient, it might take 6 months to 8 months to get there. You can totally do it.
I'm not that patient. That's a long time. Let's see. I've been sending stuff to the North Carolina auction, but still 50 to sell here. Dang.
Yeah.
Ben Robb, send me a DM of what games you have for sale. Maybe I can get take some off your hands and put them in our arcade.
Yeah, you can come. You can come over.
I'm gonna be looking for more
Savannah
pieces
with me.
soon.
Come and pick some stuff out of the warehouse.
In Savannah? Yeah. Okay.
A lot of projects, but you can get some good stuff.
Yeah. No, but for real, if y'all have anything, if you have a list, you can send it to, I guess, my personal email, emotoarcade@gmail.com. Will the Japanese games take points? No, because everything will be on free play. Because free play is the best way. Kyle
Spunky.
tried to convince me to go to coin drop card swap, and I was like, no.
It's fun, but it's also not fun. No, I think I tried to convince you to go to cards, not coins, but...
Right. And I say, no.
I don't know how you can adjust the latch for the stern headlock thing, but you can. So I think to adjust that, you have to adjust the one in the head. And I think they're on fat, it has fat holes, so you can swing it back and forth. So, who's streaming? We need to raid someone.
Oh, you're talking to Spunky. I was like,
yeah, I was
what
talking to
is
Spunky,
he
sorry.
at?
The only reason I'm saying who's streaming is because I need to use the restroom.
Altered BC, send me an email too. Everyone send me emails with all the things you're selling so I can buy from you and no one else. Location on here, just switch to card, not a fan. Oh,
yeah, no one wants to use a card, but everyone who operates games wants to use a card because it's
right. I mean,
easier.
on the operator standpoint, it's like the best route.
My game will never break
simplify
because some
stuff.
kid...
It's profitable.
Yeah.
Everything. On the consumer standpoint, oh man.
It's just not as fun, I guess, as a consumer, but I don't have to clear coin jams because some kid stuck like dirt in a penny inside my game. And
yeah, like a different, like a nickel or some other foreign currency.
Yeah, cards are the way to go. Cards are definitely the future for most locations as soon as like they become more prevalent. And that's going to be the best time for operators because people are going to be able to charge $1.50, $2 for pinball, which is what really needs to happen soon. So.
Burr, 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 burr. Bird is the word. We're going to go raid the California birds.
Yeah, let's go watch some birds.
Are pinball people too.
They are. They buy parts from us. Oh, dude, if they don't maintain the games, then yeah, definitely don't play them. And the hilarious thing is unless that person's got a great deal, it costs money to subscribe to that card service every month. They're paying a lot of money for processing and stuff like that. So.
It's all good, Jackie. All right, y'all. We're going to send you to Birdland. This is actually a really cool channel, and you can type in the chat which camera angle you want to see. And you're up on this beautiful vista.
Yeah.
Solid Thursday afternoon material.
Yep. The Central California, the beautiful hills of like Atascadero or Pescadero or something, or not Pescadero. No, it's a city. Or San Luis Obispo, or Paso Robles, or Templeton. It's all in that area. It's really beautiful there. There's an oak titmouse. Wow. That's a great bird.
Oh, I didn't even know. Okay, we're going. See y'all later. See you next week. I'm going to jump in the stream and give y'all a walkthrough of Northwest while Kyle and Aaron hold down the studio.
Yeah, yeah. We'll probably work on Elvira. We'll go see Emoto in Washington. And yeah, good deal. It's nice to see you here too. It's Lit Pinball. We have one of your beautiful cup holders on our rush over here that you can't see. Well, now you can. Oh, you're showing the Jesus.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Wait.
It's okay. You can show the Jesus.
Oh, my thing's frozen. I don't know.
Oh, because my computer froze right when we were about to finish.
Oh,
so
okay, bye.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Let's just raid and go look at some birdies. Birdies. In fact.
No, you did my dream. 3, 2,
1. Birds. Whoa, that just totally destroyed everything.